Hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Let's get started here. Let's do it. You guys hit the like button pretty quickly. It's the fastest we've ever done it. Alrighty. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Got a pretty significant downfall here, so we're going to be discussing what scenarios we can discuss, because there has been a fair amount of back and forth going on within this range. Is it still bullish? Is it still bearish? Are we going to be hitting this one low here for another area of interest before we can continue to the upside? Are we going to be still sticking with the overall narrative, or are we going to continue to the downside immensely? So we previously discussed a lot of scenarios where we could be working in a possible range of a possible flat triangle idea. Now we could have also discussed that we could have been in a possible 1-2, but now that our scenarios are being narrowed down, the markets are ripping the band-aid off, and this move here, this 10% move, is significant enough for us to say we can start transitioning into a possible bearish scenario. There's nothing wrong with that, but we still have one more validation left, which is this regional low here. Now there is, of course, a higher possibility that we will come down and retest these levels here. Markets seem to be spooked out a little bit because of the Mt. Gox situation, so that idea is kind of lingering on within the fundamental community. So that might be putting a lot of sell pressure into the markets. So we're gonna discuss how we can use that observation with Elliott wave theory. So for those of you who are just joining, please make sure to subscribe. And if you're not already, hit the like button. It does help the algorithm, so thank you very much for joining. Let's get on to the counts now. Now, originally we discussed the idea of a possible triangle scenario. Now, this idea is already starting to look a little bit unlikely due to the fact that we have this problem here. Now, it's very difficult to count this current situation because it's not looking like an impulsive move, but it's not looking like a corrective move as well. So we have a problem here because originally this was enough to say that this was a corrective move, but this is not enough to say that this is an impulsive move, right? Because we're at a very interesting zone of confluence where this is now deemed support. So if we're going to be supporting the idea of a possible impulse, we would have to even breach those levels there. So we really want to be discussing on how we want to be utilizing this range here, right? Meaning, how are we going to be able to implement this idea as a corrective or impulsive move, right? So for the first idea here, we still do have that idea of a possible triangle being built here, right? Because we haven't invalidated entirely, which means that we haven't invalidated this low here. And until it does, then we can start discussing further ideas in terms of depth of how far this corrective move will happen. So for now, I do have this idea. I did a little bit of back and forth in terms of the internal counts. I do have this move as a triangle, possible ABC or WXY going into that subwave B. And here, it is not the best looking move here. It's so difficult to count this move here because it has to, in terms of the conviction, we could say it's part of a larger impulsive move that we're going to be working in, but it becomes so risky because we're at a level of high confluence. We're at first major support, right? And then we have another area of confluence here. So we have to kind of go back and forth between whether we really want to be a bear at this point or do we really want to be a bull. So if we were trading back in this region here, right? Let's say we came back here. We originally would have anticipated this being a larger move to the downside, right? we could have said that this was a 1, 2. This was building into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. We could have easily met this region here if we were trading at this current time. But that didn't happen. What happened was we just immediately reversed out of this here. So there is that risk between the bears and bulls here. It's very difficult for us to kind of compile what is the higher probability at this stage. It's extremely difficult. So this move here is going to be determining everything, right? It's always the same story. No, it's okay. So this here is still considered a range until it isn't, right? We are either seeing a transition of the bulls losing momentum in terms of confidence. Maybe they're thinking that this is finally going to be breaking. Bears, same thing as well, because we could pretty confidently say that many people were not shorting here no matter what, even if you're a bear, because it was a clear 5-wave move up. We were looking for a pullback of an ABC regardless. First of all, we were expecting a move to the upside, further upside. So if that's the case, where are the bears right now in terms of their position? In my opinion, I think that most are positioned here. Either they're ready to take profits or they're ready to take profits at the next pivotal level of this area of interest, right? But it's difficult for them because now they have to take into consideration whether this is really truly the major move to the downside. Now, to me personally, I still think that we are in a range of some sort, meaning that even if we do break these levels here, I still do think that this level of confluence is going to be supported either as a larger ABC, or if we get supported by these levels here, we still have to just work with all of the current ranges in terms of how we can determine this current range, right? So this is how we have to do it. This is just the only way. This is really off in terms of this count here. There's a lot of people who are considering longing these regions here, including me. We originally anticipated this move to be down the end of something. This was pretty textbook in terms of an ABC to the upside. So this wave 4 was to be expected. So is this the end of something now? Are we looking for one more possible low here? So this here is highly impulsive, but that is that going to be a part of a wave 5, or is this part of a transitional wave that we're looking for? So until these lows break, we won't know. Possibly in the next few days, it will break, and that will lead us into a possible different count, which is the best way I could count this is that although few exchanges have created a top here, then we have to make sure that this has to be counted as a possible almost invalidation of a wave 2. That's the really only way I can fit in a possible impulsive structure here. So that's the only real way I could put it into this current situation. There's really just no other way to do it. I think that if we put in a wave 1, 2 here, this can be considered a wave 3, but this wave 3 is very difficult to count, right? Either we have a diagonal being created as a possible leading expanding diagonal, again, 1, 2, but you can't count 3, 4, 5 in here. That's the difficulty here. So if you are counting a wave 3 in here, even with the contracting variation, it's almost impossible to count an impulsive move for this wave 3, right? Because this here looks like a 3-wave move. This didn't complete its actionary wave of an A wave or a wave 1 to the downside. So that was a problem in itself. So this, although has the best look, we would have to adjust this not even as a wave 3, 4 anymore. We would have to adjust this as a possible wave 3. And then we would look for a wave 5 that would bring us even further down, meaning that this is now has to be counted as a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into a wave 3 of the intermediate degree, and we're looking for one more possible wave 4 to the upside that'll have some kind of reaction move that will be part of a larger corrective degree, right? So if that's the case, this wave 4 should be coming soon, which can be expected because it would be part of a double bottom, kind of a fake out idea. We would then have a possible corrective move for a wave 4. Then we would look for a wave 5 that would complete off a possible A, B, and a C. So this is the only true way that I can create some kind of larger degree of a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because if we're cutting off and using this as the transitional wave, this here alone is difficult to count as some kind of impulsive wave, right? So what other possibilities can we use if we're finding trouble with this move here? Because if this has created a double top, and it's pretty clear that this wave 2, although it's not invalidated on this, there are several exchanges that do show that wave 2 has breached this origin of wave 1. So if that's the case, we would have to label this as the termination point of something, whether it's a wave B or something, right? And then we would have to implement how we would count this as a 5-wave impulse. So for me, I currently see this still quite correctively in nature, which means we are still seeing this as a wave ABC. We're seeing this as a wave 2. Larger WXY, we had that helps resolve a lot of the inconsistencies within this current range. This move up here is considered the wave 4 of the ending diagonal of the expanded variation. So if that's the case, we have to also remove the idea that wave 4 has to come into the territory of wave 1. Now, according to the new rules and guidelines for a diagonal, wave 4 doesn't have to come into the territory of wave 1. To me personally, I would like to have it come into wave 1 territory, but it doesn't have to. So we're just kind of trying to be a little bit lenient in terms of how we can label this whole move as best as we can. And for that to be the case, and we're taking everything in terms of the zigzag family, this fits okay, which means that we're looking for another move to the upside that uses that same use case idea for that wave 4 to the upside, and we're coming here. So the end goal is pretty much the same in terms of what we're going to be looking for, because this has the same similar structure where this is a wave 3, we're looking for that wave 4 bounce, and we're looking for another possible move to the downside to meet that 50 to the 53K region before we can start considering whether this is going to the upside. So it's really up to you on how you would like to determine the termination point of this move here. Whether you would like to label this beginning structure as a wave 1, 2, or have this as the termination point, because there is that subjectivity of whether this has breached the level of the origin here. So if that's the case, we have to label this as an ABC into a W as such, as a WXY. Okay, so if that's the case, this whole move here, again, we might have to say that this is the origin of wave 1 and 2 now. And then labeling this whole move as a possible move into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into intermediate wave 3, which gives us the same result that we're looking for, a wave 4 corrective move to the upside, and then an eventual 5-wave move that'll complete wave C. So that's what we're looking for. I think that's the key point for how we can use this move as a transitional move or a completion of some sort, right? So that brings us into either this option here, where we have that subjectivity removed and we were labeling this as the termination point, or we have this as the termination point, which fits better to me personally as the B wave. So I think I might have to accept that this is a wave 2 going in, because although it has breached the origin of wave 1 on many other exchanges, is that we're now completing a wave 3 of some sort. So we're using this whole move here as a wave 3. And that still gives us relatively okay look for a possible wave 3, 4, and then 5. But if that's the case, we want wave 5 to be completing quite soon, and we're looking for a corrective move to the upside for a wave 4, and then looking for that 5th wave move to the downside for wave C, which will eventually breach this level here, and then we're going to be looking for that completion to the upside. And this whole move would be completed as a range. So we originally had a lot of ideas where this was the termination point of a wave 3, 4 of a larger degree. That's looking less likely now. It's just the way it is. I mean, we're getting close to that invalidation point, so it's okay to start talking about what we could be looking for into the downside. So that is looking less likely that this is a wave 3, 4 now. So we originally had that anticipation that this was going to be the bottom, but since we're so close, I don't even see this as a possible wave 1, 2 anymore, because we're so close to the invalidation anyways. But that gives us the problem here. If you're accepting that this is going to be a 1, 2 to the downside, you're going to have to accept that this has to be accepted as well as a 1, 2. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy going back and forth in terms of that nature, right? So if that's the case, this to me is the best way we can look at it, right? So if that's the case, then we're going to have to looking for this as a whole wave A. We can label this alternatively not as, this is probably the best way I can count this into a wave A, B, C for this first wave. We can also alternatively label this as an A, B, C here, where we have this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 going into wave C here. So that would be wave A. We then look for a 3-way move up for wave B. That would be the termination point. And then we would look for this as the 1, 2, this whole move as a wave 3, this as a 4, and then we're looking for a 5-way move down. So it's very tricky here because it's starting to look very working with the confines of a possible, if wave 3 is going to be completed soon, within a channel as well. So we would eventually look for a wave 4 and then the termination of wave 5 here for wave C. So this whole move would be working in some kind of bull flag of a larger degree, right? So that's the case here. I think this has the best look currently, where we have the possible A, B, C into a wave A, whether you want to see this as the larger impulsive wave C move, or we have a fitted triangle going into the first wave A. So that to me is how we're going to be looking at this current scenario, where we have to accept the fact that maybe this has some merit as the 1, 2, then we look for 3, 4, 5. Okay? What else could there be? We could say that we're finally working in the beginning of a larger bearish move to the downside. Okay? Which means we're now finally seeing this as a wave 1 of some sort. So we would have a completed actionary wave of some sort, okay? Which means the larger time frame macro perspective, we would label this as a truncated fifth because we're now able to fit in a 5-wave move for this 5th wave. We've had high expectation to move to the upside, and that has failed at this pivotal point here. We didn't reach the all-time high. We were highly pivotal within this range here, and now we're starting to see the first beginning signs of a possible impulsive move, right? So this would complete our first large move of the actionary wave, right? So we can also utilize that diagonal into a wave 1, or we can utilize the same idea for this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into the first wave of a wave 1. This is difficult, very difficult right now, very difficult times. The wave 4s are the most trickiest waves to count because they have more prone to be failured of, larger technical patterns. Then we have the problem of bears thinking that they come out of the woods, thinking that this is now finally the time to really start considering a larger bearish move to the downside. So if that's the case, this is not the end of something now. This is the beginning of something where we come back down, create a larger wave 1, 2, where we come back up and retest the 66 to the 60, 70K regions. Then we come down for a larger wave 3 that breaches this level here, and we finally could be creating the first signs of a wave 3 within this territory here, and then we range there for a few months as well, meaning that if we do that, that should be the first level of confluence, meaning that this is going to be the beginning of a larger wave 1, and then we come up. That will be the bear market rally, and then we come down. Far too early to talk about that situation now because we just don't know. There's a lot of bears and bulls fighting. A lot of people may disagree with my counts, but it is just what it is. It's just the technical counts that I'm currently fitting in, and I'm trying to give everyone the views in terms of how we can still be bullish and also start to look at bearish type scenarios. But what is the current weighted scenario? I think that we're still in a larger wave 3-4, meaning that if we zoom out, we still have to take into consideration that we're working in a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there has no completion here, right? And that's a similar case with Solana. If you guys haven't seen my video on my latest video for Solana, it is portraying a very similar picture for what could be a possible wave 4 being built. So if that's the case, we would have to label this as the larger primary 3, 4 being created, and then a 5th wave here. So there's no panic, in my opinion, just yet. I think that we're still working correctively in nature on the larger macro scale, meaning that we are looking for this, and this to be a completion of a larger degree, and then we're looking for a 5-wave move to the upside to complete this primary 5th. That'll give us some kind of closure to the bull market of some sort, at least in the short term. Whether this is going to be giving us that wave 1 of a larger degree. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I was the biggest bear when we were trading in this region here. I was always calling out that we were going to be correcting down to at least 57K. We've called the larger move to the downside, right? And at this point, I was extremely bullish. I was calling for a move to here. And this move here, very correctively, I still believed that we would still eventually bounce somewhat or somehow because there was all the technical counts that led us to a possible wave 1, 2 to the upside. That, although has failed for the most part, it doesn't remove the idea that we are still working correctively in nature for a larger macro wave 4. So remember, we were looking for a diagonal within this region here for this wave 3. Everyone was calling for $90,000, $100,000 region. Everyone had their own opinion at this region here. To me personally, I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for a major pullback to an eventual reclaim of the 50 to the 60K regions, and that's what we got. And that's when we made the pivotal judgment that we were going to look for some kind of move to the upside, and that's exactly what we got. But it was met with failure. So that could also be giving us that clue that even if it's better late than never, is that this could be a wave 3, 4, 5 has completed, meaning this could be a truncation of some sort. Now, I don't like this idea of being a truncation right now because usually they are very quite rare in nature anyways. So, but it does fit into the narrative of the bears. So if bears are looking at this right now, you guys are salivating on this idea that we are completed for a larger move to the upside now. This whole move here is now deemed complete because we had that expectation of a completion here. We were looking for further upside, but the psychological perspective is that for a truncation or failure to occur, we need 5 waves up into that truncation for a wave 5. That's what we achieved, but wave 5 was met with a short move to the upside, didn't breach the highs. We came close enough to be considered a truncation, and then we considered this move to be the beginning of a possible larger move to the downside, where we come back and retest the 29 and 30K regions. So what other macro perspectives can we be looking at this? To me, again, the biggest idea for me is still that we're working in a larger wave 3-4. Now, we can always be wrong here. Again, we can always transition into a different scenario. This level here has to be secured anyways. So, to me, I still think that we're in a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that'll breach all-time high before we go for a larger pullback. This is where I will be a major bear. When we start to reach these major levels of the 100K regions, 90 to 100K regions, is when I will be a bear, just like we did over here. I expect some kind of another parabolic move to the upside where we start to bring in a lot of the new money coming in, or the dumb money coming back in, thinking that this is going to be a new continuation to the upside for a bull market. But they have to be looking for pullbacks along the way. Our timing was a bit off in terms of the shorter time frame counts, but there's nothing wrong with that. We can still say that we're in a wave 4 of this degree here. That's the key point that we're going to be looking at. So if this is a wave 4, what are the options? Like I've said, the only options that I can consider is this idea where we have the A wave completed without a doubt. We have a B, and then we're working for a wave C, which comes down to this pivotal region here where we have the first support, minor support, and then we have one larger macro support here within this range here. So we don't know exactly how this range is going to be playing out. We only have our Fibonacci level to be really helping us in terms of the key levels that are going to be supported or not, because the 618 is still quite far away, which is around $44,000 to the $43,000 region. So the major thing is we're going to be looking for clues on how the bounce is going to be occurring, whether it's going to be looking more impulsively, what kind of volume comes into the market. And then if that's a 3-wave move, that it's going to be a textbook move of a 3-wave move, then we look for that opportunity to take a short. We make that pivotal move, and then we can take an opportunity to the downside that is could be considered a larger move again of a 30% move or so into the golden Fibonacci zone. So the difficulty lies within the shorter time frame of this impulsive move here, whether or not how we're going to be treating this as the impulsive move. But when you zoom out, there is a problem because this doesn't look like a termination point for wave B. So that's why I like to label this wave as a wave B. We like to be as precise as possible when it comes to the macro. And that's why we don't have that WXY idea. I'm kind of glad that we actually removed that idea. And then we're working for a possible move as a completion or a closure of some sort. Or we come a bit deeper using this as termination point. We have this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into wave C. But again, if you are looking at the termination point for a wave B, it just doesn't seem to fit in for a termination of a wave B here. So that is how we should be looking at the macro for the bullish case, right? We want to be utilizing that as best as possible. In terms of channeling perspective, we are also nearing where wave 4 could be possibly completing, because that's where our pivotal point lies. We can still undershoot for wave 4 and then come back up and then still be bullish, eventually reaching for that wave 5 target around this region here. So that is my current case for the time being. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to be playing out, but I do know for a fact that it is still corrective in nature. We're either completing something or we're working in the beginning of something that's going to be looking like it's going to be a wave 3, breaching that golden Fibonacci zone, coming into the first actionary wave of some sort, and then looking for a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That brings us down to 10K or so. But that would have to be fitted as a larger flat idea possibly working in that we're in right now. But this as an ABC, I guess it could fit. I guess it could fit where we have the end of something here. Which means we would have to label this as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave A, flat for B, and then C wave as terminated here. And then we would be looking for this to be the beginning of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that has completed the wave C. This would be possible. This is possible. Then we would have to label this as the beginning of something. And how would we do that? We zoom in. And the only real way for this to be considered some kind of wave A or wave 1 would be a diagonal. It's the only way. That's the only way we can count this as. Where we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into the first wave of wave 1. This would be a wave 1. Again, termination point wherever you want it doesn't really matter at this point. You'll be looking for a wave 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So how do we fit that in? Zoom out again. This here now would be fitted as the first actionary wave of a larger wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is what brings us into bear market territory, because this move has to be impulsive now if we're seeing this as a possible flat. Because if we're seeing it as a flat, we're seeing this as the A, B, and C. Okay? That is the only way we can be bearish. The only way. And we do have the problem of this, whether we're treating this as some kind of corrective move. This is the only way we can do it. I guess ideally what we could do is fit this as even a expanded flat, where we have this being treated as the impulse. We would then have the three-way move up for wave B. Flat for B. We would have the ABC idea. And then this move is now completed. This is the end of something. This is a three-way move. if that's how you want to be looking at it. So the problem is now we really want either the key points in terms of extensions is extending as much as we can for wave 3 or extending wave 5 as much as we can, because it's going to be giving us the biggest chance for this to be the beginning of something, right? So that would be the case on how we would bring it into bear market territory. It's a long shot. It's a very long shot, but it is possible. And I say that with a grain of salt. It's possible. The key thing we're going to be looking for is extending this intermediate degree of wave 3 as much as we can. If it doesn't, we want to be extending the 5th wave of this primary wave 1 as much as we can. It's either or. So that's the key for bears. That's the biggest thing that the bears have to do. We want to be extending this move here as much as we can, or extending this move here. They'll get a second chance of extending as much as they can, bringing us into either of the key territories of these two levels here. Okay? Those are the only two ways that the bears can be looking at it. As simple as that. And then what they can do is recoup themselves on a wave 2 pullback. That'll give us a few months to decide whether we're working in a wave 3 or a 3-wave move up rather. Then we can utilize the Fibonacci levels of the peak top and whatever the bottom is going to be giving us. If that's the case, let's just say that's the case, come up and retest at 618, just all idealized. Then bring us down to wave 3. 4, 5. Range at this loads here for wave 3, 4. Most likely sideways. And then one more push to the bottom. That would give us the best look for how a bear market continuation would happen. This is all in my opinion as well. So how would this idea fit into even the super cycle or the cycle idea? How would that fit? The only way I could fit this in, and I do have a count for it, I believe, which is this. Where we are flattening the curve entirely. And then this move up here, instead of a series of 1-2s, we have this labeled as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the cycle degree that we're working in now. Meaning that this whole range is now going to be considered a sideways market for the rest of our lives. So if you're 90 years old right now, you basically won't be able to see Bitcoin going to $1 million in your lifetime. I'm sorry, but that's just the case. If you're like 95 or 90 years old and you're just getting into Bitcoin right now, good luck. Because if this is the case, your grandkids are going to be the ones who are going to be seeing Bitcoin going to all-time highs. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave 1, and we're working for that wave 2. This idea works. I like this idea. If this is, like I said, we would need to extend. We need the first idea of a wave 1 being created, which is going to be here. We really need this level to be proven to us that we've worked in a 5-wave move. Then a wave 2 is going to be happening, and that is where we can start looking for shorts. Or we stay on schedule and we say that we're done and we're working for a fifth wave. Which one do you guys want? We stay on schedule, stick to the parabolic curve, we can extend this as much as we want, and we can continue to adjust as much as we want, but time is going to, since time works with the curve as well, as the further time we go, we could still go higher, right? So how do you guys want to see this? We also have the evidence behind this. As much as we hate it, these 1-2s, the evidence is all there, and I've written it all here. We're just looking for the next possible move to the upside post-halving. Every post-halving, we've had a move to the upside. Every single post-halving. Everything. Are you a believer of halvings? Are you a believer of post-halvings? Does history repeat itself, or does it rhyme at least? That's the case that we're going to be looking at. So, one thing for sure is that we were ahead of schedule. And that to me is a little bit concerning in itself. We had the bull run sooner than what we anticipated, right? We usually do not have this kind of bull cycle occur before. I think we're ahead of by like 2 months or so, 2 to 3 months. So is that indicating to us that we are flattening the curve now? That's a possibility. But then again, if you take a list of the pros and cons and write down what is the best, cases and what's the worst cases, let's look at it. Today, or this week, is that we've discussed the idea that Mt. Gox could be the issue, right? Mt. Gox being the issue in terms of this current selling pressure. Is that going to be another projected event that's going to be listed here? Absolutely possible. But looking back, the first Mt. Gox hack in 2011, that is what led to the first bear market. Is that going to be giving us the new cycle maturity idea that we're coming back and retesting these lows here now? Because with every Mt. Gox issue, we've had a prolonged bear market. Now, is the market smarter than it was back then? Absolutely. So again, there's that prophecy between the bulls and bears, whether you want to believe that we're going to be in a prolonged bear market. But does history rhyme with itself? That's the issue as well. Because in 2014, the next Mt. Gox hack is what led us to the 2-year bear market. But this time it's a little bit of a different issue, right? It's relating or pertaining to the idea that Mt. Gox happened, but Mt. Gox issue is not the issue here. It's about whether they are going to be selling off their Bitcoins or not. I believe that's pure speculation. I think this is going to be a nothing burger, in my opinion, where we will eventually see some kind of bottoming phase where we're still working within a wave 4. Again, we've had far worse issues. We've had China banning ICOs. We've had the introduction of regulations coming in post-2018 bull market. We've had China banning crypto entirely, mining included. We've had the collapse of Luna, the fallout of FTX. So, is it something to be scared about right now, fundamentally? That is up for debate, but to me, I don't think so. I think that we're still on track to a larger move to the upside, post-halving, if we're sticking to schedule. But does that mean we can be getting pullbacks? Absolutely. I personally believe we will get a pullback once we hit the intermediate wave 1. And that should be on track once we finish this wave 5. That after we get a major move to the upside, just like we had here, we will get a pullback of some sort of any degree. Because after every degree that has happened, we've had a pullback. A large, significant pullback. And that is when I'm going to be an extreme bear. We've had 80% pullback here right after the post-event pump. This post-event pump it was prolonged. However, we did meet with the bear market. This was same idea. We've had the prolonged move. We had another move to the downside. Now, the difference here that is also critically important to talk about is how much we've had a pullback of. Meaning, with each bear market, we've had an 86% pullback on the first bear market. We've had an 85% pullback on the second bear market. We've had a 75% pullback in this bear market. And the very first bull market, we've had a 94%. So this is the only time. Now, this is why I'm going to give my bearish thesis as well. Why it's important to also be claiming the idea that bears also do have their thesis that could be confirmed as well. And I have my thesis on that as well, which is this is the only time we've had a 75% pullback. We went ahead of schedule. We pulled into the bull market relatively quickly. It was not met because of Bitcoin, but rather the meme coin narrative. This move here was 75% against an 85% pullback we had here. We had an 86% here and 94% here. So to me, this is not a bear market. This is either a transitional wave where either one, we're ahead of schedule and we're going for the bear market or the bull market now since the halving happened, or this is a completely different new entire phase that we're not in a bear market entirely right now. We're just coming back down, retesting this low here, coming up for a strong wave 1 or wave 3, and then an entire new bear market happens there. So there's a difficulty in terms of the macro scale as well. So do you want to believe that this was the bear market and we're still ahead of schedule and we're going up for a fifth wave? Or we're going to be completing just like eventually more than an 80% of a bear market pullback, which means if we do so, we have to come down at least to the 10K regions or so. And that idea fits into the narrative of that flat idea, right? Which means that if this is the ABC, we're going to be looking for that first actionary wave here, and then eventually that whole completion of that fifth wave, breaking this low here, and then that gives us that bear market idea that we've broken schedule, we've broken all of the possibilities of what has happened in the past, and we are in a completely new phase that now we're working in a wave 1-2 of the macro degree, meaning that this is the new idea, where this whole move is now treated as a 5-wave move up into that wave 1, and then we have this here. And that's not the only evidence. There's evidence compiled for the bears as well, because every single bear market was met either with a simple ideal zigzag or a complex structure of a move in a 3-way fashion, meaning the first bear market was met with a sharp and swift ABC. We had a WXY for this super cycle degree. For cycle wave 1-2, we had an ABC where wave B was a triangle. We ranged for a year or so. Then this primary degree is the only time we've had a WXYXZ, and that is extremely rare in nature. So that makes, and that's the only way I can actually count this move to the downside as a WXYXZ, right? If that's the case, then that might be part of something else, that we are not considering this the bear market, but this to be the bear market now. Which means that this is the A, this is the B, and this is the C, and the bear market is now part of the final conclusion. This was all just a part of a bear market rally. It's a connector wave. So if we look at it, this here is the only time we've had of a possible WXYXZ very complex correction to the downside. as opposed to having all of these as simple or complex zigzags. So that brings us into that conclusion that this could be just the A, B, and then C. And then now we're looking for that final conclusion for that wave C. And then this is now the entirety of the bear market conclusion. This was just the prolonged first step of the correction. This is the sucker rally of the second part of the flat. And now we're looking to conclude the bear market of here. And that'll be the first larger bear market conclusion, as that can be comparable in size to these moves here. Then that gives us a cycle completion, boom, and we're out of here. So if that is convincing enough for the bears, you can't say that I'm doing a bad job. I'm actually doing a fairly good job in terms of being balanced as much as I can. Very neutral. I'm neutral as possible here. I'm trying to abide for both the bulls and bears. My personal sentiment does not have to matter whether I was right or wrong in the shorter term time frame. It doesn't really matter. You know, there's a lot of people out there with bad faith who tries to give these influencers the wrong impression that, you know, oh, guy gave that a gotcha moment. It's not part of that. It's all part of the macro plan or strategy that we have to be aware of, because we have to be a team here, ladies and gentlemen, meaning that we have to, as best as we can, identify the larger general trend. Okay? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are all trying to make money, whether it is to the downside or to the upside. And we're trying to identify this current small range, whether that's going to be the transitional move of the conclusion of a bear market, where we're going to have that larger move, or we're looking for this to be completed wave 5. Now, don't get me wrong, bulls. I'm completely on your side as well, because I'm going to be talking about now why we should also support the bullish idea. It's based on the fact that history has just done that way, right? I've already talked about, number one, the bad events that happen along the way that try to contradict Bitcoin's price action for bulls. But we've managed to get the F out of here and create wave 3 characteristics within each degree of a higher degree, right? Or at least the lower intermediate degrees. We've checked that box off, right? Number 2, everyone's interested in Bitcoin. It's just a matter of the fact, right? We've had SEC approved Bitcoin, spot ETFs, and so forth. So that is ultimately good news. It's the access to the general markets, right? We've seen high profile or prolific institutions getting into Bitcoin, or it's known as the adoption mania is what I like to call it, right? This has all happened after 2020. It's just the interest of Bitcoin and the interest of crypto in general. That's not something that we can't denote from this current thesis as well. So if history continues itself, it's that we have to consider each move as one higher degree of each sort that we're working in. And that's the key point here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Is the next 1, 2 coming in ahead of schedule? Are we moving towards this move here? Are we looking for a post-halving event where we see a continued bull market? I think that is part of the narrative for the bulls. Because once we zoom in, I can definitely give you confidence that there has been many people, when we're trading in this region here, including me, that we were looking for a conclusion of an ABC here. This looked very clean for an ABC conclusion here, because we were looking for that Fibonacci level to be hit, which we did. And we were looking for a reversal when Bitcoin was trading in those regions, and we were looking for a partner like here. But that didn't happen. what happened was we went ahead of schedule and we broke above this here, which led us to that bull market based on the meme coin narrative as well. So that is the main idea of how we should be looking at it, ladies and gentlemen. Those three conclusive ideas is what is going to be giving us in terms of how we are going to be able to consider whether this is going to be the continuation of a bull market or a bear market. That is how we are going to be looking at it. And hopefully my thesis has helped, because those are the only two ways that we're going to be looking at whether this is the continuation of a larger bull market continuation, where we're still on schedule, or do you want to be bold and say that we're going to be working here? I can guarantee you that we're going to be looking for a bearish narrative if we do get that 5-way move down. Guaranteed. Better late than never, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even late at this point. Even if we come down to 50K or 30K, we're still going to be able to get the opportunity to short around these regions anyway. It's all part of the narrative of the macro perspective. It doesn't matter how we trade the shorter time frames. It doesn't matter. So that's the case here. I still think that we have to work with the narrative that we're ahead of schedule. We are still post-halving, which is absolutely possible that we can still continue to the upside. So let's get into the chat now. Let's talk about what questions that you guys want to talk about. I'm open to all interpretations. I'm very, very interested in seeing what you guys are also talking about as well. So let's see. What EDW count if we go to 40K? I've already talked about that. I thought that C wave is a contracting wedge shape. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll go over the shorter time frames once again. Hopefully I can clear up your question there. What is your EW count to include this as a local top at 73.5? Just went over that as well. Can you believe you're still plugging the triangle? Yeah, I guess I can because it's still valid, right? Bears are short at range high. I mean, I guess so. If you wanted to say and confidently say that that fifth wave was completed, yeah, you can say that. Could this be a WXY from 15K to 73K? So 15K to 73K. Can we say that this is an ABC WXY? I guess. Let me see. Let's zoom in. Yeah, we could say that it was a WXY because we could say that this was an ABC. This was a WXY, but it's really the same thing because it's still the conclusion of something. This could have been the ABC as well, meaning that this is also the ABC. We just have an extended wave Y. What is sure is that at one point we'll have a failed circle or cycle. Is this one? Absolutely possible. I just went over the whole thesis on my bearish thesis. I have a very, very 50-50 distribution of the bearish and the bullish cycle. Okay. Mark, first time here. Cones Trading sent me here. Oh, cool. I love that dude. I love that guy, man. He's awesome. This is a larger flat. We go at 9K to 12K, then 100K. Possible. I just went over the idea, right? Good neutral scenarios. Please look at Solana higher time frame. I'll go over Solana in just a moment. I think the high probability for me is going to be the ABC correction. Absolutely. There's no problem with agreeing with that. No alt season. Yeah, I guess so. And if I tag a fib from the second level, to 55K is at 0.382. Yeah, again, we don't know until we really dissect the shorter time frames, and that's why this macro time frame is very important, very, very important. If you bring in the S2F model, which is a very important model that has been talked about since 2018, which seems also a solid model, the bullish continuation is much more probable than the bearish one. The bearish scenario would totally break the S2F. And that's the key here. And that's why I discuss why this whole theory on why that can also conclude with the S2F model as well is just based on cyclic patterns, right? The halvings, that's checked off, right? So if we look at the plus and minuses, the S2F model fits into that idea. It matches very nicely with the halving ideas, right? So that's the case. It fits into that idea as well. Still remember the times when 80K was a matter of time. Yeah, man. It's very... we were so close. But no cigar, right? We were very close to that. We were expecting the higher move, but we still have the opportunity for that wave 3-4 if you're a bull. Cohen's actually mentioned X-Force Global to me, and that's why I looked him up. And now here I am. Oh, when did he mention me? He has so many videos, and I think he has a lot of like live streams. I just can't get into them. It's just they're all kind of like repeated scenarios and ideas, I think. But he does have a very good grasp on the Elliott wave theory. But yeah, if he's in here, I love you, man. Big shout out. Thank you. What do you think of FET? I'll go altcoins a little bit different. Cohen's, hey Mark. Seems like a lot of people are from Cohen's trading, whatever, right? Awesome, man. Welcome to the family as well, man. Adam, Reaper, Broadband, all the cool people from Cohen is in here. Dang, we got all the people in here. Nice. Nice. Dutch Goat is here. Well, I'm from Asia. So I'm from South Korea. If you guys are not... Fun fact, English is not my first language. Hey, Kareem, what's up? We like the sound analysis. Only Cohen's is missing in here. Dang, everyone's from Cohen's here, huh? It's nice to see you guys. It's really nice to see you. Awesome. That's very awesome, guys. All right, so let's get into altcoins now. Let's talk about Ethereum or XRP. What do we have for Ethereum? What do we have for Ethereum? Lots of scenarios here, man. Ethereum is still working within... It's difficult. Because we originally anticipated when Ethereum was trading here, we originally wanted to not have this wave 4 break. We were thinking that we were working in a wave 4 of some sort. We were looking for a wave 5. I'm sure everyone else was thinking the same thing, that we were looking for higher levels of some sort. Didn't happen. Very sad. So we have to label this as a 1-2 or a range of some sort, where we're now working in a larger impulsive move down, where this is now treated as a diagonal, where we're working into a wave 1 or A, B or 2, and now we're working for a larger wave C or 3. That's the only way. Or we're working in, again, I know if you guys hate this, which is a triangle idea, that's the only way we can fit it in. It's the only way. Or this is a 1-2. Difficult, man. With each level that's being touched and breached, we have to still work with the golden Fibonacci levels until one major invalidation breaks. And that's the same thing for bears. Same thing for the bears. So let's look at Solana as well. If you guys haven't watched my video on Solana, make sure to do, because I've already gone over everything for Solana. If you guys haven't seen my latest video, please make sure to go watch it. But I do talk about why we have still a good possibility of reaching all-time highs for Solana. Which brings me to the case on how we can bring on this idea and combine it with Bitcoin's idea, because it is still working with the idea of that 1, 2, 3 or the ABC idea, right? So if that's the case, it just makes more sense with the current data given, and that is a downside of the Elliott wave theory, because you don't really know how far of an invalidation until it actually occurs, right? So I do agree with the people who are, kind of frustrated or hates the Elliott wave theory. I agree with them, man. That's why I've also agreed with a lot of other disagreed with a lot of other Elliott wave analysts. That's why I work alone in terms of this market. I don't have my own organization that has a lot of Elliott wave theory people who work in the same idea, right? I don't work in that. I'm neutral as possible, right? Which means that I still do believe that this is a 3-4 being created, and we're possibly creating some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave A, B, and then C, or a WXY of some sort, that we're going to be retesting the channel. This channel idea is still being applied just like Bitcoin. This is a wave 3 characteristic. We could have adjusted this channel as much as we wanted to. We originally said that this was an ABC, where we had this wave C end here, because again, this was the same problem for Bitcoin when we were trading in this region here, where we had that channel end here, and we thought this was a larger A, B, C idea, but that didn't happen, right? So that brought us to the adjustment that we had a break out of this channel here. We're now adjusting this channel to be this as the wave 3, and we're looking for the final conclusion now of the wave 4 target that works within the same channel, because we have the origin points of wave 1, 2, and now assumed 3, because this is characteristic of a wave 3. So if that's the case, we have only 2 idealized scenarios here, which is the possible WXY scenario, which now looks like it is working in that idea. We've reached that level that I was looking for, and we could be working for another ABC for that wave Y. That brings us down to the $100 level before we move to the upside. So I'm not too scared. And for those who are holding spot for Solana, I don't think you guys should be scared either until we actually break these levels. And if you are, you're pretty much already positioned within these regions here, and you can safely get out here anyways. And even then, we're going to be looking for whether it's going to be coming back into the channel or not. So there's just too much time that's going to be working in terms of that, with how we can be looking at it. So that's the wave 4 idea, where we're still working in it, or we do chop city for a while, and then we create a wave 4 as a sideways movement, as a triangle of some sort, and then we move up. So there's 2 options in terms of how we can move forward to the upside for this wave 5 target. Wave 5 target would be around the $400 to the $600, $700, $800 regions. So I do believe in Solana's bullish path for the time being, but again, we do have that bearish idea, and that is the problem here as well, just like we had for the other scenario, where we have to look for this wave 3 being extended as much as we can, and if it does become a short wave 3, at least have wave 5 extended as much as possible, so we can create the first idea of the actionary wave of a larger move of this wave C. And if that's the case, again, all we have to do is adjust this move as the impulsive wave. And arguably, it does look better as an impulse wave, because this fits better as a 5-way move than it does as this irregular ABC into a WX wave and then Y, where the only real way that we could count this as a wave Y is having this as the impulsive wave, very short wave B, and then C. So we have that same going back and forth argument whether this move up is characteristic of a wave 3 or not. And That is just the downfall of Elliott wave theory. So we're going to be looking for this here, and then we're looking this as the whole idealized zigzag that's going to be not only bringing us down into bear market territory, but even further than what the previous bottom was. So that is the problem here. This is going to be even further bringing us into that possibly $2 to the $4 region range for each Solana. Oof. Ugly, man. It's going to be an ugly one if that happens, because this has a very good look in terms of a textbook Elliott wave count that utilizes also the parallel channel and the Elliott wave channeling technique. So it's just based on bias. And that's something that's wrong with Elliotticians or technicians. We all have our subjective approach, right? We all could be bearish. We can be bullish at the same time. But when one becomes married or attached to the bearish scenario or the bullish scenario, they will mock each other. And that is one downside of the community of the Elliott wave theory. Very, very horrible in my opinion, because there's no collective thought or interest. And that's why my approach is very neutral, hopefully. That's why my approach is more applicable towards helping build your own thesis as well. Someone's messaging me on Telegram. Hold on. Okay, dude, stop messaging me for now. I'll look at it later. So that's the case. I think that we're still working in a wave 4, wave 5, and then wave 1 of a larger degree. So that's the case. Someone's asking about Tesla. Of course. I had the idea that we're looking for... By the way, for those that don't know, I was the only one who called for Tesla for the top. So don't call me that I wasn't able to call a bear market. I was the only one who actually called for a bear market around this time as well. We were looking for that move of that completion. I bought around this region here, and I sold at peak top around 1,200. And I have it on record here. 14,382% gain. And I'm still on the sidelines. I haven't bought it back into, and I'm kind of scared because it actually might go up. So I might have missed out on some profits. Who knows? But I was really scared. But anyways, back to the count. To me personally, I think that it's still corrective. I still think that we are going to come back down to meet $40 to $50 region for Tesla. I think that we're going to be creating an A, B, C of some sort. Again, it seems like Tesla is creating a lot of these expanding diagonals, which means that this could be the corrective move and we're ready to come back down. Which means the only bullish scenario for here is if you're a bull for Tesla, is a possible triangle idea. And I've talked about this idea as well. Which means rest in peace. And I think we are in a bear market for Tesla as well. Don't be fooled. Which means we could possibly working in a triangle here. Possibly. Where this is a wave 3, A, B, C, D, E. That is the only way we can do it. That is the only way. Either that, or we go into $40 region range, where we erase or wipe out the previous gains that all these Tesla heads, just like me, and I'll be the best trader of all time for the stock market in history, where I was the first to buy into Tesla and the first to sell it off. And I got that first phase right. Will I get that second phase right? Who knows? But one thing's for sure, it does hurt that I sold off Nvidia a little bit early. But I'm seeing the same shit for Nvidia, that we're really ready to sell off. I sold back in March, I believe. I sold off here. I don't even remember now, just because of the post cutoff of this as well. But I was one of the first people to sell off Nvidia, and if I do believe we're going to be going for a major crash. I really do. I bought Nvidia around $41. I don't know what it is now. I bought it in 2014 or so, around here. Sold off around March of this year, so it should be around here before this next move of a 70% move happened up here. This is where I sold off, yeah. But it shot up like 50% or so, right? 70%. Shit, man, I could have made another 70% on Nvidia, but it doesn't really matter because I know it's going to pull back eventually, and I will get another opportunity. So that's that. Now, going back to crypto, what about XRP? I know you guys are interested in XRP. Ooh, man, this is looking pretty scary, right? Pretty damn scary. Really scary, actually. Because we have two triangle scenario ideas. Let me pull up the original triangle scenario, the bullish triangle first. Okay, yeah, this is the bullish triangle. So we have the possible triangle idea for XRP, which means we have a WXY going into wave A, we have an ABC going into wave B, ABC into C, ABC into D. This is the A, this is the B, and now we're working in the wave C. And if we zoom in, we have a pretty clear execution of this wave C being played out now, which means that this is looking like some kind of wave 1, 2, 3, 4 that is complete, and we're working for wave 5 now, because this looks like a triangle of some sort, right? So this wave 4 is now completed, termination. We're looking for a 5-way move down, bring us down into the 35 to the 30-cent region before we blast off. Now, alternatively, we could say that it's now complete entirely, which means that I don't know if this bearish scenario is even going to be playing out. It has to come up one more time to retest and at least print another wave E of some sort. Oh, man, this is the problem, man. This is very difficult. Because this could be the only way that I can count a bearish scenario, where we have a WXY scenario that brings us down to even less than a cent per XRP. Now the cycle idea, or the 1-2-1-2 idea, also is on the table as well, but I don't like this idea because it's just fitting in so many 1-2 ideas, which means that it has a better look on the shorter time frames, meaning that this utilizes the expanding leading diagonal into wave 1. We have a possible ABC into a W, X, and then Y that is now completed, and we have this 1-2 as an ABC that's completing, and we're looking for this final move here before invalidation occurs here. Or we can extend this as the larger move as the WXY, where we just extend this wave 2 further before a larger termination point below these levels here, with this level here of that primary degree. So we can extend this wave 2 if we wanted to. But again, I don't like to work in that idea. I just rather look into either the bearish triangle, where I've accumulated XRP for no reason since basically 2018, and I'll have the biggest loss, or not biggest loss, but the biggest miss out on crypto, basically, if this happens. And we come back down and retest these levels less than a cent. And of course, I'm going to be getting out at invalidation levels, at break even. And this will be the worst trade of my life, as opposed to the best trade of my life for Tesla, which was 14,000% or so. And also my Apple, and also my Meta, my AMD. I bought AMD around $12 and Meta quite early, and Apple at 100 something, $140 I think per Apple share. So yeah, I have also experienced this crash down. I did see some, like, I did see even negatives, man. I've bought around 142, 143. Saw this move here and I got scared, but I held, and then this move here was so parabolic I just held through. I sold off here as well. Same thing for Apple. So that brings me into the case, back into XRP, that we are either creating a larger bearish WXY scenario. I don't know if there's any other way we can look at this. The triangle, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a little bit difficult. But yeah, it's either that or the bullish triangle. Either that is the bullish triangle. So I'm not I'm not entirely bearish, ladies and gentlemen. There's really no point in being bearish right now until we actually do break invalidation levels. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a lot of haters who think that it's illegal to be bullish right now, right? It's illegal to be bullish, I guess, when you're a bear, right? So so sad, so sad. So sad. All right, now let's talk about it a little bit more. Bull market over in March. So yeah, I mean, all these bears just pop out of nowhere. I mean, I've already given my bearish thesis on it, so there's no problem with being a bear. If you're a bear, then be a bear if you need to be. I do look at oil. Oil I do share in my premium group. CAS. All right, I mean, hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there's any other things, like in terms of what we want to be looking for Bitcoin. I've already given my thoughts basically as best as I could. What happened to MATIC? It seems like a lot of people are talking about MATIC. Holy shit. I actually did call for this, huh? Damn. Yeah, I guess this is the one that I actually did kind of figure that it would be bearish. Could be looking at 20 cents, man, for MATIC. No wonder why everyone's talking about this. It didn't even do a rally. Really sad for MATIC people, I guess, because it barely budged. Barely budged during this whole bull market. MATIC holders are experiencing the same pain as XRP holders. Don't be sad, man, because I'm an XRP holder, and that shit I've been holding since 2018. Link is another interesting one, right? Yeah, Link is also going to hell too. Holy shiznips. But we called this idea as well. We call this idea as well. I'll take one more request. Someone is asking about ONDO. ONDO? What the heck is that? Ooh, what the heck happened here? 500% gain. Wow. It could be in a flat. But it's still going to be required to come down. I mean, I don't think that it's going to be in a running flat either. So how would we fit that in? 3-wave here, 3-wave here, and you're looking for a 5-wave move now, right? But it is ranging since it is on the daily. So if you want to implement this as, I mean, it could be even more bearish where we could say, this is a wave 3, A, B, C, D, E for a triangle for wave 4. Five, and that's the completion of a cycle. And that would be bringing us even further down. So, yeah, good luck. This is something that I wouldn't want to be in. If this is a triangle, did this break the low? This could be a triangle too. Meaning this is a 3-wave move into a W, A, B, C, D, E, X, and Y. That could be a wave 2. And you're looking for an A, B, C to go into a wave Y. So that's the case here. And then you'd be looking for continuation. That also fits into the idea of the flat idea, right? But I'm not sure. I guess I can't believe I'm doing this on live stream. Because everyone's going to start asking for their opinion on a new coin. Yeah, it's not a flat because it went past the 1618, right? So this looks like the completed trend here. We would fit this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. I mean, because it doesn't have any history, we can even say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, is it longer? Hold on. Okay, yeah, this counts as well. This is a valid as well. But just put wave 1 here anyways. Doesn't matter. Could say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave 3. 4 for a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this looks like the count. This would be the count for me if this is the way we're going to be looking at it. We're looking at lower levels for this altcoin as well. We're going to be at least retesting this zone over here for sure. Because this is corrective in nature. This is a 3, A, B, C, D, E for a triangle, and then we're looking for a 3-way move for a wave I. We need some kind of resolution partner like for here, at the very least, of at least a 1-to-1 equality, and we don't have that even breaching of this low here. And at the very least, we can even go as far as the 1618, which is a common target as well, which could be even further down, and that could even be bringing us to at least 60 cents per ONDO as well. So yeah, this looks pretty bad. Link looks pretty good. Yeah, it does, but it's such a boring coin at this point, right? MATIC is another XRP. A lot of coins held by founders and VC who dumped on retail. Yeah, I guess so, man. Fundamentally, it could be shit. But it is what it is. It's a ride or die coin. It's a ride or die coin. That's the BlackRock's real world asset coin. Okay, all right. Looks pretty bad. How do you see VET right now? VET? All right, man. It's going to be my last one. Holy shit. What happened to this coin, dude? My God. Got obliterated. I guess this could be the first idea of what could be... Man. Yeah, dude. I mean, this could be the part of the ABC. And then... maybe Solana could learn from this. Maybe we are entering a bear market, ladies and gentlemen. Because... this could be the A, B, C. Whoever shared this vet or whatever, thank you. Because this is giving me a little bit of a clue that we may be entering a bear market now. Because this is the only coin that's actually starting to look like a real decent pullback. That's giving us the first signals of an impulse wave here. Because if that's the case, we could say this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And that could be the beginning of that first wave A, B, C, bringing us into that wave Y, and that will give us the equality. If this is the deemed top, we have an expanded flat for wave B, A, B, C, and then this is bringing us into this territory over here where wave Y will be equality. We'll have the equal length for this to this as well. We would have that first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, three-way move up for wave B, and then a final fifth wave. That will be the completed zigzag. Holy mother of effing God, this looks bad. But, big but, there always has to be a bullish alternative, right? Because we can't take that out of consideration. Am I right? Which means that we have to say that this could also be a technical bottom, right? Which means that we might be working in an LBC of some sort, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Flat for 4, 5. That would be the only way because this is now the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that utilization of the wave C, and we would have to be in a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the only bullish case that we can be looking at. So VeChain, what is it going to be? Is it going to be creating this cup and handle? This meme cup and handle? And then we break up for the fifth wave, and then we do another 50,000% for VeChain? Could. But we also have this idea that has a far better look, with the current data given, of course, that this is the ABC, or WXY. So what's a mod? Like what, I mean, is it like a Discord mod for YouTube? Like what do you guys do? Are you guys hired or something? Or it's just someone who can just be a mod for YouTube or something? Like what's up with that? I guess it's a part of a community kind of thing, huh? I guess I will eventually have some mods for YouTube. Because I do handle all the shit on the scene. We do get a lot of bad people in here, so I try to do as best as I can. Cool. I guess whoever's interested in doing mods for this channel, possibly. Because I do see this channel blowing up. Ha 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 ha. DXY, what do I think? I think nothing of it. This has become a meme as well. So the problem with this is this move here. This seems like an impulse to me, right? Which means this is a triangle for wave 4. And if that's the case, this has to be a 1, 2. But what I'm looking at is a possible A. Dude, this looks bearish, actually. Could be a possible triangle that's also completed. I mean, if this is the case, then crypto has to go up, right? If this is a possible 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Man, but it's an ugly triangle. It's an ugly triangle. I guess this could play. But then there's no bullish narrative to this. It doesn't fit in the idea of having a clean looking bullish structure. We should have been moving up already as such, right? This is more characteristic of a consolidation. So this has to be an A, B, C, D, E, unless we modify it a little bit further, right? Where this could be ranging a little bit further. This looks bearish. But then that doesn't fit into the narrative of the bearish narrative of Bitcoin, right? Which means that we should be looking for another move to the downside for a wave C. That would be the ultimate case. So if dollar is bearish, we should be looking for a C wave move and looking for a partner leg, right? That'd be crazy. Shit. Huh. I guess this could be a hopium for the bulls, right? That we're seeing some downwards pressure. If this trend line breaks, you know, expect a wave C to happen. But if that's not the case, yeah, good luck. Mods, keep an eye on the chat. Thank you for your stream. It's only on YouTube. Mods, keep an eye on the chat in support of the creator. You also need to pay Mark Dutch 1 BTC. Yahoo. That's a lot of money, brother. I'm a mod for Cohen's Trading and a couple more. Well, you might be on my priority list now, Mark. Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, sir, you might be a priority now. You might be a selected candidate. Just select a few people that are often in your chat with a positive vibe. Well, if you guys come into the next live stream, then it might be considered a mod there. DXY bearish is bullish for BTC, baby. If DXY is bearish, it's bullish for Bitcoin, right? So that is the case. Dutch is mod 100 plus for another 50 plus YouTube. Dang, that's a lot of channels, man. So you found one of the biggest mod on YouTube, so give him that wrench, brother. Sorry, I meant Tino. Yeah, I mean, I guess I expect this channel to get big. I mean, dude, guys, we're already at 5K subscribers, man. So it's crazy. We're exploding. This channel is gonna get big, in my opinion. We'll see. I should do more live streams. I know there's a lot of people that enjoy these live streams to see my thoughts on how to do these live streams for Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe there can be some compensations or something. Maybe a free membership of something. We'll see. We'll see. I'll figure out something for whoever wants to be a mod. Definitely want. I have some conditions for sure, like in terms of who we want out of these live streams for sure. We definitely want those people that are bad eggs in this market. Maybe if we hit like 20K, I'll do like a face reveal or something. So subscribe. Hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. Let's end this here. We've been doing this for 107 minutes now. 107 minutes. That's a long time. It's 2 a.m. now. I gotta get some sleep. Mark and Reaper, keeping an eye on you. I have you on the list now for possible mod. You guys are absolutely funny, crazy, funny people. Thank you, Broadband. Instrucciones, thank you for always joining the live streams, brother. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Have a fantastic day or evening wherever you are in the world. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Have a fantastic night and day. Bye-bye. I love you all.